This is a difficult time period as a coach and the players, because it's you fought so hard and you did so much throughout the course of the season to have a chance to win a national championship. I've had some really, really good teams and some really, really good players. And I've never been as proud as a group as I am this group right now. So much of this year and last year, but especially even more so this year, they were criticized for not being tough enough. And I don't know that I've ever had anybody make a tougher shot than Marcus Paige made. And I was dumb enough, when we were down 10, I promised them they'd do what I said, that we'd come back and we'd have a chance to win the game at the end. And I said that because I trusted them and believed in them. We let Villanova have the ball last. The shot that Marcus made was just an unbelievable shot. Joel in the first half, Marcus in the second half carried us. We couldn't get the ball to go in the basket in the second half. We shoot 34% and they shoot 58%. And that coach out there on that court cutting down those nets is really proud of his team. But I wouldn't trade my team for anybody. I just wish I could have helped them a little bit more.
We'll take questions now first for the student athletes only from North Carolina. If you have a question, please raise your hand. This is questions for the student athletes. Please raise your hand. The first question in front on the right side of the aisle. Name and media outlet, then your question.
This question is from Marcus. This is Powell Latimer from the Greensboro News and Record. Marcus, this is tough, but what was kind of that last shot like for you? And then can you walk me through watching Chris hit his shot as well, that last few seconds?
Well, we ran a screen for me to get the ball, but I had a feeling Villanova was going to switch it, and they did, and took it away, but Daniel fell down. He slipped on the court, and then I knew I was going to have to shoot it. My instinct kicked in right away to throw the ball to Bryce under the basket, which is why I hesitated with the ball when I jumped. But then, obviously we needed three, so I just wanted to have the ball in my hands in that situation. And I told the team when I made the shot, when we went to overtime, we got 4.7 seconds to play defense, and this game is ours, because no matter what, we were going to win the overtime, because that's just how the game was going to go. We had clawed back from down 10, and what Coach told you is absolutely right. At that point, we believed we were going to win. We just needed 4.7 seconds of defense. It didn't work out. Chris is their best three-point shooter, and he got a pretty clean look for whatever reason. But, there's 75 possessions in a game, and they just happened to get the last one and make the shot.
Continuing with questions for the Tar Heel student athletes. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Any further questions for the student athletes from North Carolina? There's one in the second row.
Carlos Galazzo, Daily Tar Heel. Joel, could you just talk a little bit about what it was like watching Marcus in the second half kind of will the team back into this one?
Yeah, it was special. Marcus is a great player. I enjoy playing with him. But that's what Marcus is capable of doing. He's been doing that, his whole career here. And he's just that tough of a guy. You might look at him and think, he doesn't look as tough, but, he's a tough player, and he's a great player. And he stepped up, and that's what we needed. And especially, with him, being a senior, and that was his last game, he did a great job, and it helped us. So.
All the way up front on the left side, Ken.
Ken Davis, Today's You. Marcus, you've talked about legacy, and I just wondered, how does that feel now? And also just talk about when you got down by 10, what was going through your mind? Is this just you just saying, this is my time?
No, I kept telling the team that, there's a lot of game left. We've been down before and made runs. So I just, I felt a little bit of dejection from our team, and I just kept telling the guys every time. Coach tells us every free throw to sprint down to the other end, huddle up, and get together. And we just kept telling each other that, we've come too far to not fight back. There's no reason to not leave everything you have on that floor, because tomorrow all we do is get on a plane and go home, either way. So, you know, we knew we could fight back, and we did. In terms of legacy, it's hard to think about that. You know, the fireworks go off, and you want that to be your moment. And you know, as bad as you guys have won anything in your life, you don't know how much our team wanted this game, and we just came up a little bit short.
Next question's on the right side of the aisle, toward the back.
Christy Reekin from the Associated Press. Marcus, can you just kind of talk about the tough shooting y'all had in the entire second half and what was going on, you think, there?
Yeah, I mean, they're a terrific defensive team. So starting there, they challenge every shot. They don't make very many mistakes. But we also missed a bunch of shots at the rim. You know, I can think of a couple times where I got all the way to the paint and the ball rimmed out. Or, you know, we got the ball exactly where we wanted to and missed a tip in. So, you know, you can't have those back. And, you know, those end up changing the complexion of the entire game when you look at the last possession. But, you know, sometimes that's the way the ball bounces. You got to give them credit for shooting, 50%? Over 50% in the second half. And, you know, we only shot in the 30s. So it's the way the ball goes sometimes.
To the center of the room.
This is from Marcus. It's Kiera Luck from Black Sports Online. Marcus, this season has been incredible for you, and I know this is emotional being the last time you'll wear that jersey. Over the last 4 years, what does this last game mean to you?
Well, the whole 4 years means the world to me. I wouldn't trade any of the losses, any of the games. You know, it's hard to say, but even including this one, I wouldn't trade it for anything because, you know, this has been the happiest and most fun 4 years of my life. And talking to this year especially, hasn't been my best year as a player, but this has been the most fun I've ever had in my entire life with this team, all the way up until that last horn went off. You know, and it's hard because at some point tonight I have to take this jersey off, and I never get to put it back on. And, I'll just have to rely on all the memories I have with my teammates because I'm telling you, this is the most fun year of my entire life. So I don't know what else to say.
We have time for one final question for the student athletes from North Carolina, if there is one. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Let's go back to the right side of the aisle for the last question.
Joel, can you talk a little bit about kind of the swing of emotions and everything that went on in those last few seconds?
I mean, something that you can't describe. I mean, just to see that ball go in, and I was hoping that, you know, it was out of his hand, you know, when the light came. I mean, it's still in his hand when the light came on, but I looked up at the screen and I saw it, and it was good. And you know, just that feeling of walking off the court, feeling the confetti fall, but it's not for you. You know, it's a horrible feeling. But like I've said, like Marcus said, you know, this has been a fun year. It's been a great year. I wouldn't trade anything for it. We had our ups and downs, and for us to get to this spot, and I know we wanted to win it, but for us to even get here, you know, it took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of growing, and that's what we did. So.
Right now, we'd like to thank Joel and Marcus for joining us here tonight and all week long. Joel and Marcus are going to return to the locker room, join the rest of the North Carolina student athletes for more questions. Congrats on a great season, terrific postseason. We're looking for the first question for Coach Williams. We'll go all the way up front, just to the right of the aisle. Ken.
Roy, Ken Davis, today's U.com. Can you, I guess Marcus has made a couple of shots like that during the year. Is that just pure athletic ability to be able to double clutch like that? And then what was it like as you got into the locker room with them?
It is athleticism, it's ability, but it's toughness. It's toughness too. He made a layup earlier, and we thought he got fouled. He didn't, and so we go down and we have to foul them, and they have to help us, and they didn't. They made the most free throws. And so we called a set play, and he turned a broken play into a great play. And he's made some tough ones. He made a couple of baskets against North Carolina State in his career at the buzzer. Made a driving layup against Louisville at the buzzer. I've coached a lot of guys, but I've never coached anybody any tougher than that kid. I've never coached anybody that tried to will things to happen even when he wasn't playing as well as he could play. But, you know, in the second half, he's 6 for 12 or something like that. Big shots. One of the timeout, not a timeout, the ball's out of bounds. I said, "Are you all right?" And he said, "Yes." And so I called quick, which is a play that he made the jump shot right in front of our bench. We ran ISO for him the last one. We did have another option, but he was the best option. I wanted the ball in his hands. So it's the kind of thing, Ken, I had to sit back and understand the kind of youngster, not just basketball player, but the kind of youngster that I've been able to coach for 4 years. And, you know, we had some opportunities. We had it around the rim. We missed 2 free throws. You know, we had some opportunities, excuse me. But you got to congratulate Villanova. And Chris made a heck of a play. Bryce was guarding him, so Chris was taking it out. Bryce was all deep and make sure they didn't throw anything long. We got what we wanted. They threw it in right in front of them, so they had to go the length of the court. We made Arch give it up, but we didn't get Chris picked up, and he made a heck of a shot.
Continuing with questions for Coach Williams, we'll go to the middle.
Hey, Coach, this is Kiera Luck from Black Sports Online. When you go back in the locker room, and I know the relationship between you and Marcus and you and Bryce, what do you say to these kids as they take this jersey off for the last time?
You know, I'm not very good because I can't take away the hurt. I'm not very good because I can't change that. I told them I loved them. I told them I wish I could have helped them more. And that I appreciated them from the bottom of my heart. I was able to coach a magnificent group of kids that for the whole season tried and tried and tried. In the last 5 weeks, they tried and were really, really good. And tonight, the other team made a shot at the buzzer. And it's so crazy, you know, a couple times we rolled the ball in to save 1 or 2 seconds. And that was a smart thing to do. Maybe if it hadn't gone in, we'd have gotten to overtime. The difference in winning and losing in college basketball is so small. The difference in your feelings is so large. But that's the NCAA tournament, that's college basketball, and that's wonderful kids that I love.
Continuing with questions for Coach Williams. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll send a microphone attendant in your direction. Any further questions for Coach Williams? There's one in the back to the left of the aisle.
Adam Spillane from Sports Radio 610 in Houston. Coach, when the shot goes up, is it just kind of a helpless feeling? You're just hoping that it doesn't go in?
You know, I wanted him to be more covered. I think I'd hoped that we'd get up to him closer. I really felt like we'd gotten them to do what we want to do. You know, they weren't able to throw it any length of the court and save any time, so they had to take it about 75 feet before they get to the basket. But when the shot went up, I saw Chris shoot it, and his follow-through looked great. And I pretty much knew he was going in, and it was helpless. It was not a good feeling. That coach, I said in the locker room, Jay, I love. Jay does a great job. I mean, his guys played so hard and played so well and shot the ball well and defended like crazy. But I would take my kids because they've been great for Roy Williams.
We do have a few more minutes for questions for Coach Williams, if there are any. If you have a question, please raise your hand. There's one to the right side of the aisle.
Christy Regan from the Associated Press. Marcus said he thought the guys got a little dejected in the second half. How were you able to get them back on track?
You know, the coach tries everything. I promised them. When we're down 10 in the huddle, I promised them they'd do what I told them to do, that we'd have a chance to win the game at the end. I just didn't go guard Chris. But they believed in me, and I like that. I just wish I could have done a little bit more.